Hello, good evening. Welcome to the show today, The Voice of the Voiceless. My name is Toyin Morafa. Unfortunately, we're running behind schedule today because of the elections that is happening in Nigeria. And from what I can see, it's been very, very interesting. All we're awaiting right now is the outcome. Anyway, tonight I've got two wonderful guests with me today. Two guests that I'll be asking a couple of questions, and they'll be helping me out with the show today. On my right, I've got the lovely Rose Peter Graham. On my right, she is a broadcaster. She's a social political commentator as well as a sociologist. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sure even the viewers are so happy that you're here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. On my
Hello, viewers.
on my left-hand side, I've got a young gentleman next to me here as well, Mr. Femi Oke. He is the Director General of the Nigerian Institute. I think it's like a company that does feasibility reports when it comes to investment in Nigeria. Thank you very much for being here this evening.
Thank you.
I hope I got everything right.
You got it completely right.
Yes,
Well
you
done.
did. Okay. Like I said before, there's, the elections happening in Nigeria, so we're keeping an eye on it. And it is, I think, a very, very interesting, tussle for tonight. But for now, we will be talking about youth gang violence and the way we can combat it. So without further ado, let me go straight into the discussion we'll be having tonight. Most of the viewers will know that we'll be interviewing a lot of single mothers with regards to all the problems and everything that is happening with the kids, and we've got a lot of opinions, when it comes to the discussions we'll be having. But we're lucky today to have a young gentleman here that can give us the other side, of the coin when it comes to absent fathers and issues like that. So, Mr. Oke, I'm not saying you're an absent father, obviously.
Certainly not.
Let's get that point across. Well, what do you think about the roles that absent fathers play in our youth gang violence?
The family unit is the key unit that's going to help in terms of developing our youth, especially the young boys and the girls as well.
Right.
The absence of a father figure is a major problem for our young boys.
Right.
So from a father, you do get love, you get discipline, you get a lot of things that, to get the roundedness of a man,
Right.
from a man. But when he's not there, then you're left with the mother having to do that all herself.
Right.
And if the mother is working as well, she's got so many other commitments,
That's true.
and if she's got more than one child,
Right.
it's quite difficult for her to be able to be both father and mother, which many of the single mothers do that.
Right.
But there's a few of them that are not successful, and we can't really blame them. And then with all the cutbacks in social services
That's true.
and the discrepancies in the educational system, a lot of our black brothers and sisters, the young boys anyway, are getting left out, if you like.
Yeah.
So this is a problem. So fathers are a very critical part of the jigsaw puzzle
That is
for
going.
the youth.
Oh, right.
And not just having fathers, but fathers who are working.
That's true.
Because if you've got a father who's not working, is just at home, or actually doing legitimate work, I would say legitimate work, because if he's doing illegal work, there's every chance that that son could also go into illegality as well. But if he's doing legitimate work, that's a strong role model for the child to see that you too can make it and you can succeed.
That's true.
And bring home the bacon, as it were. Obviously, if you're a Muslim, you wouldn't be bringing home the bacon, but bringing home, the money for the family.
Yeah.
So these are the things that are necessary for our youth to see.
Right.
And unfortunately, that is a problem in our society, and it's a historical problem, not just a recent one. It's been happening from the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and it's just regurgitating itself, and it's so unfortunate.
Unfortunately. I'm going to come back to you regarding a couple of the things that you've said, because everything you've said so far is really valid. But I'll be coming on to Miss Graham over here. What do you think about what he's just said, especially with the perspective from absent fathers and how it affects the society? Regarding the children?
I think he has a lot of strong points there,
Right.
especially the family is the bedrock of every society.
That's
And
true.
of course, when you say family, the father, mother,
Mm.
and the children. But with what we have in this society today, which is something I came to realize, and I'm realizing I'm in an entirely different environment whereby things are not like where I came from.
Right.
Single mothers, single fathers, and I noticed that a lot of the women seem to is like a tag that they're proud of,
Right.
and they're really so quick to get out of the family to say they want to be a single mother, you know. So definitely, I mean, when children grow up, they look up to their fathers, their mothers.
Yeah.
One way or the other, you just see if there's a particular word you use, your child uses it back.
Right.
There's a particular attitude, you know. So they're like sponge. They just consume all of the
Everything.
things you say, the things you do.
Right.
So, you know, at this stage of the child's growing up, or the elementary stage of the child's well-being or growing up, I think it needs the presence of the father and the mother there, and then they need to lead the child right the way it should go. And that's just the line from the Holy Book. When you train up the child the way you want the child to go, and when he grows, he will not depart from it. And
right.
then the mothers can actually not do it all by herself.
That's true.
It needs the father's help, because there's so much pulling you on every side. In as much as they say women can do several things, we can think about several things at the same time, we can multitask, but the fact is that we really do need the man there to say, when the woman says to the child, sit down, and the child say, mommy, why should I sit down? When the father just looks at the child sits down. And there's something else about parenthood. There's the trainer and the spoiler of the child.
Right.
The fathers are always firmer, while the mothers are like pampering
Yes.
the child. And usually the children know that, oh, I can do things and get away with it with my mom. You know, and then they take advantage of that
Right.
all the time, and tend to turn their moms like in the palm of their hands. They can just turn their moms the way they want.
Right.
But the
Know
fact
the
is that
weak
the
points.
fathers
Yeah.
are very necessary in
Right.
every
In the whole
family.
thing. Oh, thank you very much. And there's a point I've actually picked up. Do you think this society, this community, is actually enabling the breakdown of the, of the family structure, especially the nuclear family structure, and how is it really affecting or escalating the gang violence we're having now?
Yeah, you know, marriage is, as an institution, as a setup, is being degraded in this country. I don't know the statistics now,
Right.
but it has been falling for quite a while, and divorce rates have increased severally. And then even now, you can cohabit, you don't even need to marry.
Right.
So there's a lot of that happening. So people just joining together, and then they can separate at any time.
At any-
And then the children are, you know, the ones that pay the price.
Right.
So what happens a lot in these sort of situations is that, as we say, the pressures of the economy and work and all the other factors that are out there, then so parents, whether it's a single parent, a mother or father, may not have that time for the child. So that child is going to seek attention elsewhere.
Right.
And what tends to happen is that, with, especially in the inner cities now, especially with our black youth, there's a lot of peer pressure that happens amongst themselves, and then you've got the gang culture that comes in.
Right.
So when people in the get fast kind of society, where people get rich fast ethos that's sort
The
of
schemes.
happening out there, that
Yeah.
you know, me, myself, and I, and get rich quickly, drugs in the society, and the gangs. So the gangs become their new kind of home. And that's where they get the mentoring that they should have been getting from their parents and their extended families are not happening anymore.
Right.
Back in the day, if it wasn't the father, you've got the uncles, the aunties, the grandmas, and so on and so forth. Now people are just into themselves. They're not so much extended. So their extension is the gangs.
Sorry to cut you off. So do you think it's because of this family breakdown, like what's up? One thing I've always argued about is that a lot of these parents, they are not even equipped with the parenting skills. You know, the law has, most people say that the law has actually affected the way that we discipline our children.
I would agree with that. I mean, you know, obviously coming from an African background, as Rose talked about, not sparing the rod, you know, we come from a disciplinarian setting. Same with the Indians. And you wonder why in the society in the UK now, if you think about which of the children are more educationally advanced in terms of getting degrees, getting university and high qualifications. They are the Asians with the Indians and the Chinese, followed by the Africans. And the Nigerians are high amongst them. So, and then you have everyone else. That's more, we are averagely more qualified than even the Brits. And so, but what happens is that society is sort of curtailed us and said, you know what, you can't discipline your children the way you used to discipline them. You can't do this and that. And then so now you've got quite a high significant number of Nigerians now where they may have not been in the 70s and 80s going astray.
Right.
So they're now going astray and going running wild because they know that mommy and daddy can't tell them what to do. They can't discipline them. They'll tell their mom to shut up, you know, and things like that. And they'll run away from home. They won't, the parents, I think if you've got children, you don't even know where your children are. That's a problem. You know, they don't know where their children are. They don't know what they're doing. They've got no structure in the way they're living. So all these things are a problem. And society is not helping. And so the social, like there used to be like, they used to have these social organizations that, I can't remember what they call it, like the adventure playground, social groups. The kids used to go into the youth programs and stuff, which used to cater for them, sporting activities as well. So a lot of that has been taken away from them. So where are they going to go?
That's true.
This is the
Thanks
problem.
to the underfunding. Thank you very much. I'll be coming to you, Ms. Graham, with that question, and I'll be going a bit deeper. You know, back home, back in Nigeria, we all have Nigerian, you know, heritage over here. We believe that the woman is the bedrock of the family. She's mostly the one that has, you know, when it comes to the situations in the family and handling, she's the matriarch. Let me use that word. Do you think that role has been over here because of the way the law is working? Do you think that power has been taken away from the woman, in which case she wouldn't be able to have the same power that we have back home, for example?
I think the woman has more power here. A lot of women realize that they've got more power here. One. Secondly, from what he said initially, when the question you asked about the environment here, affecting the families in terms of bringing up children. And I would say that you cannot blame the UK. You cannot blame their institutions because they put these laws to protect vulnerable women. Those in our communities, sadly, I would like to narrow this down because when you talk about the knife crimes, it's usually the Ades and the Olus who have been victims. And now that is bringing it back home to Nigerians. You understand? And the Yorubas, especially because we have a larger population of the Yorubas, and it's usually amongst them. Amongst us in that way. That is one. Secondly, if they set down these rules to protect vulnerable women and then we come to take advantage of it, then you should blame us. Because if you should look at us and the way we live here, we lie mostly about everything. About our status. Some people are married, they'll say they are not married, they are collecting benefits. At the weekend, you see them in parties, buying ashwebi and whatever, and neglecting the children. Most women will say, before the husband say one or two things, I will call the police for you. Then you call the police, they take the man out of the house, the child sees all of this, and then you feel you can be in charge, you can take care of your boy child. And at the end of the day, you see what happened. We've heard about some boy childs who have gone astray, and some of them even killing their mothers. You understand? This is the wrong aspect of it, taking advantage of what the country has laid down. One. Secondly, we have the Indians. We have the Chinese. The United Kingdom is a multicultural place. You understand? This is the one place in the world you have almost everybody from the world in. Why are they not breaking up? Why are the Somalians not breaking up? Why is the family unit so strong in the Indians or maybe the Chinese? Why are the wives supporting their husbands so much? And why are they going stronger? Why is it us? Because sadly so, they've come to bring the issue, the problem down to single motherhood. But then, why have we not been able to manage these situations among ourselves?
So, sorry to cut you off. Do you think that we're having culture clashes? Is that part of the things?
We are not having culture clashes. We are just quick to embrace some other person's way of life and neglecting ours and forgetting where we came from.
Right.
We came from a place. This is not how it is. Children are meant to respect their parents.
Absolutely.
If you choose to live here, you should have a way. I get on buses. I love public transport anyway because the public transport in the UK is fantastic. Yeah. So I get on buses and I hear some parents speaking to their children in the Yoruba language or in Benin or whatever, and I'm so jealous. I say, oh God, this is so nice. This is so good. And you see those children are attentive.
That's
yes,
true.
Of course, we know when they get to school, they mingle with other kids, and then the peer pressure come in, and then they might derail.
Right.
But the fact is that we as a people, we've got our churches, we've got all these other community that we go to apart from going to work. So when we go to church, there are other mothers, like in my churches, like in one of the church I attend, when the child is misbehaving, another parent call that child to order. So these are the different ways whereby we can help ourselves. These are institutions that we've created back here that we can use in supporting the family unit. Right. It is not easy when you're away from Nigeria.
That's true.
It is absolutely not easy. But these other institutions, the mosques is there, the churches are there, and maybe the family meeting, like you have the Egbe. Give me a name. Where I came from, the Esa unit are there, the Benin unit are there. So we go there with your families and your kids. And you go there with your family, and then the other people, if your child is not behaving right, they can talk about it. Stop saying, oh, because the authority will say, I shouldn't beat my child. Of course you shouldn't beat your child. They're also trying to protect the child because of excessive or because of abuses. They want to protect that. But they did not say you shouldn't spank your child. You can hit your child and not leave mark on the child's body. Right. Or you can hit them on the bum. You understand, but not leave a mark or in terms of abusing, discipline. Not excessive. So if we say, oh, they say you shouldn't touch it, and then you leave your responsibility, that child will definitely go astray. Okay, so it is not the fault of the UK government, because they put down these laws down to protect women, to protect children. Right. And if we within ourselves are not able to manage ourselves and mess up and don't listen to our children, don't want to talk to them, and our children go astray, I think we should blame ourselves, not the system. Wow,
wow. This is very interesting. You know, I've got two very, very intelligent people right next to me, and these are people that they've got experience in a lot of these things. And, you know, the thing about this project is always like to draw on experiences, because we're hoping that they'll become future mentors, even though they know our way of this before. I'm just letting them know now, live. Another thing that I want to talk about is the media portrayal of our community. You know, most of it has been really negative, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this, because I think that is not fair. We have a lot of positive things and a lot of positive people to celebrate, and that's what I'm trying to do, bring all these people out, so at least our viewers will be able to identify, you know, and follow the journey.
I'm sorry, I know you wanted Femi to answer this, but I just need to quickly point out, because when you talk about single mother, look at Anthony Joshua. Single mother brought him up.
The funny thing is, I was just going to mention Anthony Joshua.
You understand? A single mother brought him up. Nicki Minaj, single mother brought her up.
Right.
So there are a lot of successful people that single mothers. And again, I think the former Prime Minister of the UK, David Cameron, talked about tiger mothers.
Right.
So if you're, I mean, I'm not saying rip your child apart, but you need to be firm. Speak to your child. This is the way you need to go. Draw out a schedule for the child and make sure they go through it. Don't be all about being on your phone, checking up the latest hairdo, the latest clothes, and the latest party in town. I'm bringing this really close because most of us are guilty of this. Right. But then you have to talk to your child to say, this child's next 16, 17, 18 years, I have to be here for this child.
That's true, yeah. Yes.
But it goes back to what we were talking about, putting the child first, you see. So if we go back in time, if you look at going time in the 60s and 70s, so many of these people, the Windrush generation, if you like, they came here doing 2, 3, 4 jobs.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
So they don't have time for their children.
True.
You understand? So you've created a legacy there. If you go back to the times of slavery, where a lot of the people in Jamaica, they were impregnated or raped, if you like, by the slave master. So they didn't have a father. Some of them, they got the slaves to have baby amongst themselves. That became a hereditary thing, and you find that baby mother and all that kind of stuff as prevalent within their culture.
Right.
Yeah.
You see, so there's a lot of these things and these baggages that are happening, and it's not just something that just happened yesterday, and it's
That's
still
true.
happening. There's consequences that we're paying for. Now, going about where you mentioned that, is it the media that's fault, or what are their impacts?
The negative,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I said I was going to mention Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua is Nigerian. But when they want to portray him in the media, they'll
say
talk the
British
British,
born.
blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
Let Anthony Joshua do anything wrong now.
Yeah.
The Nigerian-born Anthony Joshua is what
Yeah.
you're going to hear.
Yeah,
So you can see
absolutely.
already
Yeah.
the
That's true.
skewedness of the media. They don't
Yes.
care. They look.
true.
You see, when you're doing great, oh, he's one of us. He's a British guy.
Yeah.
So the moment you do something nasty, oh, no, there's Nigerian-born, oh, this is from Lagos, and they will go deep into all that nonsense.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem that we have.
Oh,
and so
right.
we need to have more strength in the media to push to portray our people in the right way.
In the
It's
right
not
way.
like, I mean, she mentioned about the Indians and the Chinese and what. It's not like they don't have their problems. Go to the Pakistani community. They talk about them raping all their girls up in Bradford and all that kind
yeah,
of stuff.
absolutely.
And they're painting all Pakistanis as if they're all out there trying to rape all white women, which is not the case. So what they do is they latch onto the few bad eggs, and that is then blanketing on everybody. So now every black man in London now, or a young boy in London with a backpack or whatever, is
Wants
possibly
to start
carrying a
something.
knife.
Yeah, yeah,
You see, so this is a problem. But that's not to say we shouldn't belittle the problem of knife crime. It is a big problem, and you find that it's black on black crime. So
Absolutely.
they're not killing white people; they're killing themselves.
Absolutely.
You see, and so they're kind of ghettoized, and it becomes a ghettoized thing. And again, it's about, you know, the social network, the culture. It's about the you know, how high you are. I mean, are you middle class? Are you lower class? What's your educational background? All these kind of things come into this whole big mix. And so there are a whole load of factors that cause knife crime. It's not just one factor in particular. So it's a
all
complex
mixed up.
thing. So
Yeah.
the main thing is they need to have positive role models, and the children need to know that they can achieve.
That's
You see,
true.
most of them believe that they can't achieve in the legitimate way, so they have to go by the bad way, and other people take advantage of them at a young age.
Yeah.
So if you're exposed at a young age to all these things, then
So the drugs and
there's
violence,
opportunity for you to go astray.
Yeah.
What we need to have in our society is more organizations like yours that can help those who have gone astray to
Absolutely.
come back onto the straight and narrow.
Right.
So it's not how low you fall, it's how you pick yourself
You
up.
pick yourself
That's the
up.
most important thing
Wow,
about
that's true.
our boys. So
Yeah.
it's all hope is not lost. You can be a gangster today, and you can become a
Oh,
multi-millionaire role model tomorrow.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And there are many of them like that. So,
That's true.
but they got to believe in it themselves.
That's true.
Society's got to embrace them and let them know that yes, you can achieve. They also shouldn't go out there with a chip on their shoulder, believing that, you know, they're not going to employ me. They're not going to do. Look, when I
That's
was
true.
young and I was going for my jobs, I studied accountancy and finance. I was going for jobs. Whenever I went for interview, I said to myself, I am the best man for this job. If you don't take me, that's how I was saying to myself. If they don't take me, that's their loss. They made a mistake because I'm the best guy. And I never looked at it. I might have known technically that they may have not chosen me because I'm black, but psychologically I've told myself that they've made a mistake.
Right.
They chose the wrong
It's their
candidate.
loss,
And
yeah.
so I go into the next interview with more confidence. So these are the kind of things we need to push, the confidence that we need to give our youth,
The youth.
that look, you can
True.
do it. You don't worry about any rejections, because you're going to get rejections. It's just like
Definitely.
It's true.
they're young boys. They're going to get rejections in life. They're going to get rejections when they're trying to date women. They're going to get rejections. Everything, everywhere there's going to be rejections. So they have to be strong and know that they can succeed. And that's why the absence of fathers is a factor.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not the only factor, but it does have a point.
It is a major
So,
factor.
so then what the single mothers should try to do is have positive male role models. They could be friends, they could be from work, they could be from school,
Family,
they could be
spend
from
family.
however
The
means
church.
the church,
Yeah.
whatever means necessary. But it must be good, positive role models so they can see that you can be a successful footballer, you can be a lawyer, you can be a banker, you can be a plumber, you can be an electrician, you can be a painter, you can own your own business, you can employ people. You know,
be
whatever it
anybody
is that you
who
want, the
wants to be.
sky is the limit.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be always illegal, because and they need to understand the price of illegality.
Yeah,
When you do illegality,
Yeah.
inevitably it's going to end up banged up,
Definitely.
and you'll lose your freedom.
Absolutely.
Someone to tell you when to wake up, tell you what to eat, all those kind of things, you know. So, and then you can't see your wife if you've got children, and you know, there's the consequences of imprisonment is devastating. And the crimes that they do, there are consequences of them. When you stab someone, you're not just affecting him alone. You've got his mom, his sisters, his brothers, and all that. So all that, and then even you yourself that have committed the crime, it can be a burden upon you because you feel, oh no, I still stabbed that guy, and you'll be having nightmares.
Absolutely.
And if you're emboldened and hardened, and then you become that you can be killing more people, and you go into gun crime and all that, eventually, if you get caught up with the special the armed response squads, you could be killed.
Yes, definitely.
So, you know, we need to try and steer them away from illegality and push them more into the legitimate way of life and know that they can succeed. They can succeed, and they will succeed.
Thank you. Wow, that was very, very deep. And I would like you to answer that question, but with a twist, because I think I know your pet hate. So I'd like to introduce that. And that's the way this youth dress as well. Do you think he helps with the, you know, the media portrayal that they have, you know, the hoodies, drop down trousers, jeans? How do you think it really affects
and the tattoos?
That's it.
I'm wondering who makes those clothes.
Well,
you know, for me, I'm just wondering who actually makes those clothes, and why do they think that they will get accepted by dressing that way? Sometimes I just want to go into their minds to want to know, or even ask them, why would you dress like this? What does it say of you, or where you came from, the family you represent? Why would you come out this way? I mean, it bothers me. I'm not happy. It's very offensive when I see them coming out like that. So I don't buy it. But at least they came out of a home, and their parents can't talk to them anymore. It is sad. And then, you know, when I was mentioning institutions, I remember social services. They tend to have certain overzealous staff. Absolutely, yeah. And so I think it's just this staff who go out of their ways and feel, oh, if I am a social service, I've got authority. I can do this, and I can do it. I think I know what is better for your child than what you think is good for the child. And there's a video of a mother who came out who was talking about how a social service woman took the child to her own house, bought him laptop, iPads, and everything, giving him £100 maybe every week as allowance and whatever. It's like, you're trying to steal my child away from me. And then what should bother us as a people is that, why is it that these people are really concentrating in our community? Absolutely. Because there are other communities that when you go, I have friends who do all this social services work, and then when they're talking to you, they're always black children that are in their care. Why not others? So why so much concentration in our community? And then we could go on and talk about their involvement, them wanting to set us back, we not having media power or whatever. But the fact is that we're going to fall back on what the Islamic State have been talking about. The Nation of Islam have been talking about. That is Louis Farrakhan, what he's been preaching, and of course black. The black is beautiful, and black empower. Everything we'll be talking about. We need to come back to our drawing table to build our economic power. If we have economic power, then nobody would want to mess with us. The Chinese have it. The Jewish people have it. They are respected around the world. The kind of things that they do to us, when police officers would just walk up to, how many times do you see them walk up to some other nationality except the blacks, and then they treat us the way they do? They do treat us.
Like you said, they have the economic power, and their economic power is historical, and And again, they control a lot of the media, especially the Jewish power. So that
That's
if you
right.
say anything negative against the Jewish, I mean, look at the Labour Party now. Anti-Semitism has become the
norm.
the buzzword now, and so many about 7 or 8, I don't know, 9 people, members of the party have pulled out.
Nine
Have pulled out of the party now on this anti-Semitism thing. I'm not. The thing about it is that what's the problem with I see about the Jewish, some of the, not all of them, but some of them, is they equate anti-Israel, as in the state Israel, with anti-Semitism, which is not the same. So if you're against Israel because you don't like what they're doing to the Palestinians, then they say that, oh, you're an anti-Semitism. I said, not at all. I love Jews. I'm happy for them. They're great, but I'm not happy with the state of Israel. But then they conflate that and make out like, well, if you don't like Israel, you don't want Israel to exist.
Femi, I must explain to you right now, and it is the truth that I don't want to touch issues that relate to the state of Israel or the economy or everything, because I was watching a clip, and when Louis Farrakhan was talking about how there's always a Jewish person attached to any African American that's made so much. No, wait, my darling. Just hold on. I'm going to come back to you. Right. It's talking about how they stick with a black entertainer, Michael Jackson, for one, that was really headstrong with them, but at the end of the day, they got him. So they stay with a black. Most of the black African American who is ruined today financially, he said that some Israeli person is behind him or whatever. No, hold on.
Like
No. That was what he said. So the issue, I really don't want to touch that. I am what's wondering, like now, the media mogul, the biggest is Oprah Winfrey. She has made billions from this. So why not invest part of this money? But she might not want to touch issues like that because there's a lot of...
do you know how many schools she's got in Africa for the young girls?
No, that you're not getting the point I'm talking about. I am talking about, okay, if in terms of empowering blacks, education is part of it, empowering. But you understand, investing in black businesses, if we can do that and build our economy, that is what I am talking about.
I believe that's happening.
From economic power, then we can have political power, and then we would get the respect that we deserve.
Rose, we've come a long way, okay? Because I grew up in the UK. I was born in the UK, so I know how things were in the 60s and the 70s. And look, we have MPs who are black now. We never had that before. You have shops now all over the place where Nigerians own the shops. In fact, places like Thamesmead, Woolwich, Peckham, almost like it's Nigeria. It wasn't like that when I was growing up. So there's a lot of role models for the young blacks to see that you can own your shop. They do own business.
So what is the problem today?
No, the problem now is a societal problem, and we are addressing it. I say that blacks have come a long way and are succeeding, but what the media does is latch onto the negatives and blows them up. So if you're only blowing up all the negatives, so all the good stuff, they're not publicizing that. So all the guys that are doing well in different companies, whether it's in IT, whether it's in banking, whether it's in education or science and all that, they're being waved under the carpet. So you don't know about them.
This is what I was talking to you about. We have this power. Media. I mean, this is heritage television that has come up. Bank television has been up now for how long? For close to 18, 20 years. We know of other TV stations that have come up that they've died down. This medium, which we have, social media, is what we need to start doing as a people to project ourselves. They would see these things, and we have to keep projecting ourselves. Next week, I expect maybe you, maybe me on my show on Ben Television can say that, okay, I met this young man who has a clothing line. I even have another young man downstairs, as a matter of fact, who I'm going to be doing an interview with later, who had a clothing line that I'm projecting. And this other guy has a clothing line. He just finished a run, what is it called, a fashion show in Milan. So I met the mother at the gym, and I told her, I said, this is what I do with my program. I want to project Nigerians, Africans, who are doing well. Let us talk about them. This media is available to us now. Let us project our own. It's the best. Because and you know what? We need to do much more. Because today, Walt Disney would want to tell my story. my name is Shadi and you are putting a Fulani cloth on me. When will you talk about Shadi and you're giving her Amina's dress? You understand? So you do not understand my culture, you don't understand my tradition, and then you want to talk about it and project it to the world. It is wrong. So that's why I like the Nollywood filmmakers, at least most of those ones who do know what they're doing. And especially when they go to the Cannes Film Festival, they'll say, we want to tell our stories the way we want for it to be told. We don't want people to keep telling our stories. You know, a time will come whereby you keep telling our stories the way you want to tell it. But we are going to tell our own story, and this is the way it happened. Absolutely. Would you believe me or believe the other man? It is my story, and then I say it the way I want to say my story.
Of course, of course.
You understand?
Absolutely.
So that is where I want us to get to.
Right.
And then they'll start, okay, like, look at the Nigerian music industry. They've done so well. I entered into a store yesterday, and I was hearing... Baby, I think of you, pressing I do. Are you getting it? Are you And I looked at the lady and I said, wow, you're enjoying some Nigerian jams. Yeah. And she said, oh gosh, she was so shy. I said, I just love them.
An English lady, was she?
Yes, an English lady. And the fact is that we have gone international. So now we're doing it the way we want it to be done. We're speaking the language. I don't have to pronounce it the way you want me to pronounce the language.
Absolutely.
You understand? So this is me. If you're not taking me the way you want to take me, that is your business. So I am happy that gradually we're going to get to the point. Stop saying our kids are rude, our kids don't listen, our kids are the ones who are in the gangs. But it's just not true. Their kids are equally in these gangs.
They just not.
You see, but as you're saying there, it speaks to the fact, as I said before, that there is massive improvement. If we just concentrate on the negatives, then we're not going to see these things that you're saying. So even though you talked about the clothes as a negative, but actually some will say that it's actually a positive in a way, because black culture and black clothing and all that is taking over the world.
No, it is taking over the world in a good way.
You might not like it. You might not like it.
No. Let me explain. Like, you're talking about the Ankara and the Adire. I'm happy.
No, I'm not talking about.
No. Wait, I'm going somewhere. The other day I saw Beyonce, and she was dressed with this Ankara. I mean that the Easterners are known to wear. And the lady with me, I said, Beyonce, this is the African print. I mean, from the East. I remember my mom wearing this in the 80s. You know, so they brought them back. All of these things are good things. But I'm talking, what I don't like is when those boys wear jeans and they sag them and their drawers are outside.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm saying, I'm not saying that's a good thing, because I would never wear my trousers like that. I mean, it might be an unsightly sight if I were to wear it. But what I'm saying is that is a cultural thing. You know, just like people wearing tattoos or whatever. And I'm telling you that the world over, whether it's Indian people, white people, Chinese people, they assimilate in that culture from the black culture. So even hair, the way we do our hair and all these kind of things, weaving and stuff, it's being assimilated into all these cultures. In fact, you find a funny thing.
You would be surprised. Then those are the good aspects they are stealing and making their own.
One of the funny things is that as we know, I mean, this is another topic for another day. As black people are trying to be, as black people are trying to, well, black women should, and some men are trying to lighten their skins and doing all these silly things with chemicals, which is dangerous for them. Then you find that the white people are trying to darken themselves, going on the tanning and all this kind of stuff. So you can see it's a really funny thing. And the music now, I tell you, when I was growing up, that's another thing. When I was growing up, our fellow white brothers and sisters, they had no rhythm. They couldn't dance. But look at Robin Thicke, go out there, Eminem, and all these people now. They are the same. When you see them in the club, they are more or less
So everyone is getting
so what it is so that is the dominance of the black culture, which is over. You don't really realize it, and people say, "Oh, it's a sellout" or whatnot. But we are infiltrating, and we are having an effect. So what it has to happen now is that we, as you said, the media, I think we should have a kind of situation like the Jewish media, where when you keep on saying negative things, there should be a body that says, hang on a minute, you need to stop that.
Absolutely.
Okay, once a week, if you say it one time, but look, that's enough now. But
Yeah.
that can only happen with the power of your money. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you know,
but
like,
that is what I talked about, economic power.
Are we as a people?
Yeah.
You see, because black people are not a homogeneous people. If you're the Jewish, they're homogeneous. They're coming from Israel. They may have come from different parts. I mean, there's Moroccan Jews, there's Iranian Jews, there are Jews all over the place, but they originate from Israel. Whereas Africa is quite diverse.
Yeah.
You could be Kenyan, you should be Moroccan, you could be, and they're not as united because of the history of colonialism and all that kind of stuff. And Americas, the Caribbeans, and all
Very
this,
well.
very complicated.
Very well, but
So
now
they're not a
I
homogeneous
understand.
unit.
So
Yeah.
if the Africans from the north say they are not related to us,
They're not saying that.
no, wait. If they
I think
say
you're
that
giving like an
because
example.
of yes,
Yeah.
because of the skin, that's an issue for another day.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about those of us who have this at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm talking about having this. Sometimes I see some some Caribbeans here in the UK, and they will say, "These Africans, man."
Yeah.
Someone has done that to me before, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh no, you are looking so white like chocolate or something,"
Yeah.
you know. So because if we who have this at the moment, I don't like talking about this issue because
Yeah.
I just want to see everyone as one,
Yeah.
love everyone, smile, have
Yeah.
a good, I mean, let's live in a world of merriment, you know,
Well,
of
sorry,
happiness.
yeah,
Sorry.
Which is something I'm just the reason why I just want to put this is I know a lot of us feel very uncomfortable when we're talking about that, but I think these kids, because they're not as culturally aware as we are, sometimes I think we should be able to educate them, especially when you have these differences between different colors
I
of
think
skin,
it's
and they still
talk.
bring
I
it.
think it's talk.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Why-
Like
why
for
is-
my
why is
baby
that?
is
Yeah.
4 years, is 4.5.
Yeah.
And before we go to bed, I realize when I talk to him and I pray to him
Yeah.
and I talk to him about what he's going to be in future and whatever, I realize that he likes it.
Right.
It calms him down before he sleeps.
Yeah.
And there's a time when I get so tired and I don't do it. I see him feeling agitated.
Right.
And he just goes, he just turns over and he just turns his face over to the other side and maybe then he sleeps. And I said, oh God, I didn't do this. And I noticed how our relationship was now being affected. Like in Yoruba land where they have oriki, where the mothers or the grandmothers will be talking to their sons, and you keep saying those things to
Yeah.
your son
Yeah.
positively. It gets into their heads.
Yes.
You understand? Know the child of who you are. Be proud of where you came from.
Yes.
You're going to be great. And you keep saying that to your kids. Where did we lose it? Why would I come to the UK and say that, oh, because they are using fork to eat, I would go to one of my favorite restaurants on Old Kent Road and I would throw the fork away. I'm going to eat with my hands.
Yeah.
I know where I came, like Moni for Woli or see Julewe Baba me, like they say.
She got that right.
So the fact is, you just have to make sure that you don't forget.
Right.
Our problem right now is because we're forgetting. It is painful when you see, like in Camberwell the other day, one of this boy was running with his intestine. It was popped out from the stab wounds. So if you see sites like this, it just melts you. I mean,
That's
you're just
true.
devastated.
That's true.
But parents have a lot of work to do because listen, the authorities won't do it to you.
Right.
They won't do it for you.
That's
It
true.
falls back on your lap.
Down to the
And you
parents.
think, oh, the UK community, because they give you money, allowance for this, benefits for this, and you think they will still come to your house and help you mold things. You're in
No.
a dreamland.
Yeah, that's
No,
true.
it's-
You understand? You have a lot of work to do as a parent. Even if you're a still single mother, it's not easy.
Absolutely.
You have to pray, God guide me, and you have to put your back into it. It's not easy. You have to do
Absolutely.
it.
That's true. That's true.
It falls back on your table.
Wow, this has been very, very interesting, very, very explosive. We're just about to round up now, but I just want you to touch quickly on music, how that music affects the youth, these days.
Yeah, well, obviously there's so many different types of genre of music. Some
Yeah.
of it is positive, some of it is negative. So just to talk on the negative stuff, you've got things like the drill music, which kind of glorifies gang violence, you
Yeah.
know. People that go on Facebook and have video them gang beating somebody or gun butting someone. All these sort of things like that is so bad, and a lot of it they're catching on from what's happening in America and all this kind of stuff. So these are the negatives that are happening. But I disagree with you in the sense that where you said that people, the youth of today are disconnected to Africa. I think when I was growing up, and I'm making myself seem so ancient, but when I was growing up,
dinosaur age.
there was this disconnect between Africans and Caribbeans.
Right.
They used to say you African bulla, and we used to say you come you slave and all this kind of stuff. I think that is moving away now. That's gradually moving away, and you find that a lot of like if you go to Jamaica now, they watch Nollywood in Jamaica. And a lot of these people come over here, they know all these artists, they know all the African music and stuff. So Nollywood, Afrobeats has really helped them to get to grips with their culture and embrace it. Right. Even if you go on the radio now, go on there, Capital FM, or whatever, you hear Afrobeat section.
That's true.
So
Even
that is really, and you have different types of Afrobeats. So you've got the Nigerian Afrobeats, you've got the Kenyan Afrobeats, Sierra Leonean, all these different people, South African. So it's all embracing, and we're all enjoying it. So I enjoy different music from different places, even the Francophone music, the merengues, and all this type of thing. We all enjoying it.
They can't be enjoying our music and still putting out a negative story of us out
No,
there.
I'm talking about us within ourselves as people. I'm not talking about the wider world. I mean, that one, they're enjoying it, and that's good. But what I'm saying is, we, our youth, are embracing it as part of their culture, which is a positive thing. And I think cultural values and understanding where you come from and parenting will help these children to hopefully get a grips with this kind of gun culture. I mean, violence is not just exclusively to black people, as Rose said. It's not exclusive to the UK.
Absolutely.
Some people say they're going to take their parents their children to Nigeria or Africa and say, let them stay there for 3 years or something and bring them back so that they can learn their discipline. I agree with that in a way, because that happened to me. But there are examples of some people that went over there and it came out worse.
That's true.
They've come back as armed robbers even, because
true.
there's violence still in Nigeria as well. There's, anywhere you go, there's good and bad.
And there's good and
as Rose tried to say, the parenting, the impact of parenting on the development of the child is the critical point. And so where you've got bad parenting, that's an issue.
That's it.
And then where you've got, unfortunately, low-income people or people who are on the fringes of society, they do need help from social services as well, and from other family entities and other social organizations, whether be it church or whatever, cultural organizations as well. All these bodies need to come in to assist, because some of them don't have the capacity. You know, you got young baby mothers at young age, teenage mothers. They've had the baby so early, so a lot of they're infant parents, so they're not really equipped.
They're still babies, most of them are
so
still
they're still learning, and they have to bring up a baby. You find that the incidence of people who are teenagers who have kids, their kids tend to get pregnant early as well. So it becomes a revolving door.
It becomes a circle.
So these are things that we're talking about. And you know, single mothers tend to have kids that become single mothers. So people that are.
I'm sorry, I actually saw an insurance advert yesterday, and there's this mother who is like over 50, and she's buying insurance so that it could pay for a funeral and everything, and then the daughter was there, and then the daughter had a child. You know, so it's like, this is what is prevalent in the society, and that is why you could see an advert addressing them. You know, so it is sad. And of course, I think the UK society, they like to, they talk, they like to provide solutions. If there's an issue, they want to deal with it, which is one good thing very good thing about this environment where we are. So, if they notice things like that are coming up often, they could also want to talk to mothers about it, especially the young ones who are just having babies. But I know they also do well at the children's centers. You know, so when you go there, you come for stay and play. They tend to talk to people. You understand? But I know there's a religious leader in the UK, a pastor, who said to me a certain time, he said this society is structured in such a way that they do not help your relationship. They do not help the family. They are structured to pull it apart and make sure everybody else is okay. True or false? True or false? But when we see this happening, we as a people, can't we tell what is right and wrong and what is better for our kids?
Right, right.
You understand? So I think we all need to stand on our feet, because it falls back to us.
Absolutely.
It completely falls
Yeah.
back to every one of us. It's not them.
Yeah.
The buck stops at our table.
It really does. Wow. Time really flies when you're having fun. And like I said, I've got two very strong individuals here. We haven't even how do they say, scratch
the surface.
Yeah, scratch the surface at all. So I'm using this live to make sure that they promise they'll be coming back.
Oh, we will. Can I just say that what I want to say, though, as in closing, from my point of view anyway, is just to say that, look, we must let our youth know that this place is a privileged society.
Right. Yes.
You can be whatever you want to be in the UK.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is they should see that as a positive.
Yes.
And that, you know, education is free. You can
Yes.
excel yourself to whatever it is you want to do, to the highest, to the mountain, wherever you want to. There is no limit to how far you can excel. So that's what they need to know.
Absolutely.
And they should take advantage of that
Yes.
opportunity,
It's true.
Yeah.
especially when they're young, and go out there and deliver. Because their fellow Nigerians in Nigeria and other Africans, there are people that come from the village where they don't have any shoes.
Yeah.
They have to
True.
fetch water.
Yeah.
And they're reading their book over candlelight.
That's a point.
You understand?
That's a very
and
good
they
point.
end up becoming professors and working in Harvard and all that kind of stuff. So as you are here with access to all the information,
Everything.
all the resources at your disposal,
And not using
and you're
it.
not using it, it's a crying shame.
Yes.
And so those who are, because the prevalence of knife crime is not exclusive to the poor people, because the idea that it's only poor black people that get involved. There are middle class kids, Nigerians who are educated Nigerians, their kids are also getting involved for whatever reason.
That's true.
And they need to understand that those that can afford it, go back home and see what, you know, you could have been.
So, but I
You
think
understand?
that is why when you said some of the children go back to Nigeria and they come worse, I think that would be 0.1%.
No,
Because
you'd be
no,
surprised. You'd be
I beg
surprised.
to differ. Because
surprised.
if you are in this environment where you have light 247, everything works, and somebody takes you back to Nigeria and mosquito bites you once, and you go like this,
Yeah.
and you're like, what? And you're going to cross, and you're hearing on,
Yeah.
like all around you. All this was it? I mean, there's a word I'm looking for. The confusion in the air in
Stress.
such environment, the sun itself.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and then you would realize, like, oh, life can be
I
like
had it
this.
easy in London.
You understand? I
Easy.
have it easy in London, and then when you come back here, you say, "Mommy, I'm sorry, I'm not going to." Like my son will say to me, "Say sorry, mommy, and don't ever do it again." You would come back here, and you would say, "I would never do that again."
But then the problem is that how many people can afford to
That is
take
the
that
thing.
journey?
How many
That's
people?
true.
And
See?
then because how do I have to take you to Nigeria for you to learn?
That's
You
true.
understand?
That's
And sometimes when the kids don't want to eat, this is heartbroken. But you show them pictures of children who are starving.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and then they will say, "Oh, I have." Some have food but cannot
Not
eat.
eat.
Some can eat but have no food. We
yeah.
have food and we can eat. Thank you, God, for everything.
Yes.
This is so simple things you should teach your kids.
Yes, yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
so I say it falls back to the parents.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much for watching today. I've had a very interesting time. Left to me, I'll be here like a couple more hours, but unfortunately, my guests have got very, very, important and special engagements, and I will be bringing them back very, very soon. So watch out for these two faces, yeah? Once again, on my left, you've got Mr. Femi Oke.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
very
me.
much for today. It's been very, very, very enlightening. And on the right, we've got the beautiful Miss Rose.
Thank
It's
you.
a great hair. Yeah. And
Hey.
this is Toyin Morafa from Voice of the Voiceless. Hope you have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.